Hey guys, it's your boy Pat. Welcome back to the next episode of the Hollow Down Cigar Lounge. We are back 2025 with another great show with your homeboys that we're going to bring up right now. We got Chad and Ryan. What's up, my man?
How's everybody doing?
Hey, everybody.
So we're smoking a budget stick on the show today. Reference, we want to give them just as much love as our top shelf friends. So, y'all opposed to lighting this up before we start yapping everybody's heads off?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
So, what we're smoking today is Alec Bradley's Puck. There's nothing fancy on the price about this one at all. It is a upfront budget value line smoke that we wanted to bring on because Alec Bradley has a tendency to make good smoke. And we're gonna
smell the wrapper before you light it. Got a real floral smell to it.
It does have a very floral smell.
It's like floral and hot chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
And the cold draw has that cocoa hot chocolate flavor. Like, very nice.
It does. And that is very, very aromatic. Not all of them are quite that up front, but that's killer. So before I light mine, I'll let y'all get going. This is just a budget stick. It is there's no secrets about it. It's a box pressed Cuban sandwich style filler. So I'll preface that before I continue because a lot of times we reference that Cuban sandwich styles can kind of be hit or miss, right? So they're letting you know straight up, Cuban sandwich. It is a Habano Oscuro wrapper, originated out of Honduras, and the filler in sandwich style has Nicaraguan, Honduran, and various filler cigars. So like a lot of budget sticks, they're pulling leftovers from other blends to make this work. The Habano leaves in the filler are the same leaves utilized in some of their higher price lines as expected, but they ensure that it's got a dark and oily Honduran Habano wrapper. Should taste rich notes of espresso, pepper, and cocoa, which we can definitely smell. On pepper intensity, only about a 3 out of 5 is what they're expecting. So I'm going to join you guys and light up.
Mine's making good smoke already. I'd be curious to see with Cuban sandwiches, a lot of times they don't hold ash very well.
Right.
So I'm curious to see. Some do, some don't. So curious to see how this one fares.
And that's just, not having as much long filler in there to keep the ash construction together. I'll tell you, unrelated to the cigar real quick, I pulled out this lighter and nothing fancy, but this is a Rockwell quad torch.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, triple torch. This was a $2 lighter as an upgrade from, I think it was actually an Alec Bradley purchase on CI. This is a banger triple torch lighter, by the way.
And my local here in town has that Rockwell brand, and it's one of the first lighters I ever bought years ago, and I ended up giving it away, but it was a really dependable lighter. Mine was just straight, but it's a good lighter.
I've had a bunch of brands. I haven't had Rockwell, and I said, well, they were offering it with that bundle. Actually, it was a $1 upgrade. I think it was like $5 to buy, but $1 upgrade. And then I've got a couple. They're a pretty good little reliables. I pretty much have had this last month or two in my travel box. Done well.
Yeah, I like those. That one has a clear window.
It does. Yep.
I love that about all
Yep.
their torches. It seems like, and they have a big tank, so they hold
Right.
a lot of fluid, and you can see. Some like a lot of my lighters have a window, but it's like a little partial window that you can see on the
Just
side of the lighter.
like a sight.
Yeah, like a
sight
slot.
glass.
And so you really never can tell how full or empty you are. I mean, you kind of have an idea, but with those, it's very apparent.
It is.
Plus, that one
Well,
seems
that-
like it's pretty compact too, because most of your triple and quad flames are more bulky. They're more of a tabletop lighter than a travel one. Yeah, no, I like it.
Size comparison to a Toro here. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's pretty smoky. I actually had to dial down the flame. So, need a cheap lighter that's solid. There's Rockwell for you.
nice.
Dude, this
Yeah, a
is
lot
like-
of places carry those.
This is. I know the pepper intensity is not supposed to be there, but this is like hitting your face espresso for me right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You
I'm
got a
getting
hint of dark
espresso.
chocolate in it too.
Now it's crazy. Chad usually asks me this later, but since I'm already here and we're already talking about the fact that this is a Cuban sandwich value blend, Ryan, did you look up any info on these before I say this?
Nope.
So on the Toro size, a box of 20 is a whopping $55.
Oh, nice.
So what? $2 and some change?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Robustos were like $50 for a box, I think.
Yeah, the Robustos are $50 flat. Churchills are 60. Excuse me. I don't think that they have Bordeaux's available. I think this is Robusto Toro Churchill setup. But your most expensive one is a whole, $3 a stick. So it doesn't say budget line that, I think they made the band. It doesn't, like, if you didn't know, you probably wouldn't assume that that's a budget stick, because it's not just a plain paper band. It's actually got, I don't know if that's gonna.
Yeah, I knew nothing about it when you sent it, and I assumed it was probably something from their line, in the $7 to $11, $12 range, because of the look of it too, and it's a box press.
Right.
How many Cuban sandwich box presses do you see? Because that takes extra effort, more work.
It does.
So
More work, more time, not something you expect to see on a value line.
it doesn't look like a value line cigar when you look at it, when you hold it in your hand before you light it.
No, the appearance is just, it's really constructed very well. Very oily. Veins are in it. The construction's holding well. The draw's nice and open from the start. For what you get, it should be bang for your buck, not a puck.
Yeah,
Right.
I would say my draw is not as open as I would like it, but that's probably one of the things you run into with value lines is the rolling probably is a little less consistent, but it's not bad right now, but it's definitely not open.
Yeah, you got some inconsistencies. Just the fact that you're running with some of the leftovers, so you may or may not have whole leaves or half leaves. You may have indeterminate amount of leaves that you're putting together to equal the same amount of weight. So you can roll it the same style, but your airways aren't going to be as consistent as you would on a main line.
Yeah,
Well,
I
good
got a
start
little.
for sure.
Go ahead. I got a little bit of a run going. I want to see if it fixes itself before I
Same
take a torch to it.
Same thing. It's good on one side, but it
Yeah, I
runs
think
right
that's
there.
Nothing
kinda
crazy.
consistent. Yeah.
Nothing crazy.
So we're 2 out of 3 on small runs. We'll see. Yeah, I don't want to fix it just yet. I want to see if it'll pull itself since we're early on. If it doesn't, I'll fix it. Is that tamarind flavored Powerade?
It's Gatorade's. It's not zero. I bought this one for my son. I'm drinking it. Just fruit punch. Usually I get the zero if I'm buying them for me, but
It's
That was
crazy.
his.
I used to hate the zeros when I was younger, and now that's all I want. Even Powerade, if we're talking energy drinks, don't matter what brand. Like I lean towards the zeros. They taste good, and now I think the regular stuff's just way too sweet.
Too sugary, yeah. I
Yeah.
agree. That's like, I can't drink regular soda hardly anymore either. Every once in a while, but I got so used to drinking diet that regular soda tastes really heavy, like with sugar.
You know what's crazy is on the sodas, I still prefer the regulars.
Do you?
Yeah. Dr. Pepper, I'm okay with that diet one, and Coke Zero, but pretty much the rest of them, they taste weird. But when I go to Powers and energy drinks, hardcore zeros. Weird.
Now, the Dr. Pepper you mentioned, do you drink the zero or the diet?
Sorry, I said diet. I meant the zero. The diet.
Yeah.
It's that, what is it, aspartame or whatever that's in there.
Yeah.
In the diet, yeah. And then in
the
the
zero,
zero, I think there's, what's in that? Stevia?
It's either stevia or I think it is stevia.
I don't know. It tastes better to me. Tastes more like the real thing.
Real close.
Yep. I'm gonna give mine a little touch here.
See if yours pulls itself up or not. Mine's trying to fix itself.
I did too, but as I got in a little farther, I'm still like I mentioned to you guys, I'm having a little bit of a draw issue too. So
Right.
because mine's a little tighter, must be so.
Well, y'all have any? And I don't mean to be cliche, so I'm not going to ask you for, health tips or gym memberships. But do y'all have any, other types of goals that you're looking for this year, as far as like, vacations or projects or anything of that nature?
My goal is to spend less money on cigars.
Hold on.
Are you writing that down?
Removed from the show. He's gone. Chad is out. No, just kidding. We'll pull him back.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
Well, right there before
I didn't
Christmas,
say not spend any money on
order.
cigars. I said spend less money. So, yes, that would be good.
Oh.
A little more discipline is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
but it's
maybe,
it's hard. All these people keep coming out with all these releases and sales.
24
and everything.
was insane.
Insane.
I mean, we've now talked about that several times, that the amount of drops were stupid.
Yeah, and it was like FOMO. You were fear of missing out, so you're just buying them up.
All right, I'm gonna pause for a second, just in case, because it's starting to curl, and I don't know if this is gonna stop, but it already started to fix itself for me. So
Right.
I can see it starting to pull, so I don't think it's gonna last long enough. So I'm gonna pull that out, but yeah,
mine is fixing itself too. So it might just be with Chad's draw being a little harder. It might just be pulling.
Being a little tighter. If it doesn't have a good draw, it won't burn well. Pat and I talk about it all the time.
And if anybody's watching the video and they would go back, I had to do a second light because there was one little corner that didn't light, so that may have been my issue, just the initial light that had to fix itself too. So, but talking about the drops, when I was over in DFW December and trying to make Chad jealous and meeting up with Henderson Ventura, we talked about. Sorry, I had to throw it back out there.
You succeeded too.
We talked about all the drops, and I was asking him, what's his idea of, when to put out new lines. And we went on a rant of, both good and bad about all the drops at all the brands. And, even though like every other cigar maker, he has his line, but he likes to smoke everything else too. And he's like, dude, there was so much crap even I wanted to get. But as much as I want to put out stuff, I don't want to try to put it out too quick, because I want it to kind of come when there's, a new product that I think people enjoy, not just because it's the holiday season. So, but we kind of went off on that. There's just so much stuff that, I mean, Man, we'd have wasted our annual budget just trying to get the drops at the end of the year. So
Did he reference his drops at the end of the year?
he did
See,
not.
he had two. So
At
the
the
barber
moment,
poles.
yep. No, he we kind of left it vague. I didn't ask him specifics. We were talking about some other things. So in the conversation, we didn't go off onto that. So partially my fault because I kind of steered the conversation to something completely unrelated. But
Yeah.
we
So
didn't-
two
we
shop
didn't-
exclusives, one being the BL Luxuries barber pole, which has 5 of each. One is a King's Gold barber pole, and the other is a Queen's Pearl barber pole. And then they just, towards the end of the year, dropped the Robusto box press King's Gold Robusto at Secreto.
Yep. I was about
Shop
to say I thought
exclusive.
that was a Secreto.
Yep.
Yeah, I would like to get my hands on the barber pole set sooner than later, but it'll happen.
They only made 100 boxes.
Yeah, I know it.
And I'm not sure if they're only going to make 100 or if it was only like this one run. But you could
Well, you know,
probably
a lot
message
of-
James.
A lot of your LEs and stuff, sometimes they do that first drop to see how it's going to pull, and
Yep.
then there's other times you never see it again. So that's the FOMO effect, and it's great for marketing, horrible for our wallets.
Right.
Well, I did this on a whim, with it being even though it's a budget line, being a darker smelling cigar. I went ahead and went back to Scotch World today, so I pulled out some monkey shoulders for this one. And I'll say, it works.
It probably pairs well with that because it's
Very,
mild of blend.
very well.
Yeah.
When I first cold draw this, when I first cut it, I almost got a little peaty moss flavor too with the chocolate, which was strange. You guys didn't mention that, but I did get some of that.
Huh.
Like, almost mushroomy, mossy taste. And I don't know if it was just, like I said, these are, being the price point they're in, you're probably going to get some differences or variations. Because like Pat mentioned, they're mixing some different tobaccos in there, right?
Right, yeah, it doesn't exactly state what the extras are. It just says that after the mix, it's varied. So,
Yeah.
it's enough with, what is it, Nicaraguan and Honduran. Those are probably the primaries. They probably have, the two that they use as most consistently to keep some of the flavors as close as possible. But then, you may be using the extra scraps to kind of fill in the gaps. Which that's what budget lines do. You don't want to waste product. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So you're going to get some inconsistencies, but like I'm not having a draw issue like you're having. So that may just be the difference in, you got a few more scrap stems or something like that than I do. And that's just part of it. But
Yeah, I'm not getting any of that flavor once I lit. I'm getting mostly just chocolate and some woody flavors.
Well, since we kind of side railed by almost kicking Chad off the show, Ryan, since we talked about your shed a few times, I'm assuming. So I know you've talked about, what's your long-term goal? Like, what's your final idea? Is it just to have, paneled up and exhauster? Is like there's something else that you want to do with the space, or is it just kind of just cigar space?
So really, the end goal is to have this as a secondary hangout place for friends and family when they come over.
Okay.
Just kind of gives me a space during the times where the weather's not nice, and when I want to get away from being on the porch and have everybody interrupt me. So that part is nice. But now that I'm finishing and using it a lot more, the wife and kids can come out here with me too, which is kind of nice. Can sit and watch some football games and, watch some movies or whatnot. And then I can enjoy my cigar, and it's not, missing out on some of that family time too. So that part is kind of nice, so gonna end up having, I got a TV temporary out here right now, but And you see him sitting on a leather couch. Picked one of those up from Marketplace. I got the wood stove installed. It's all insulated, so I'm down to a t-shirt in the wintertime, which is nice because episodes before, you've seen us, losing daylight or, bundling up as the time the end of the podcast is coming on. So, that part is nice. So, but yeah, end result is probably just like a hangout, chill place. Get a couple chairs and the couch in here, and just something for us to use and utilize.
I noticed your couch as soon as you hopped on there because I think the last time we watched or we were together, you were in just like a folding chair or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so that's definitely an upgrade. What we should do, Pat, is every time we do have this talk, you should have like the screen logo that you have for the sad face, and then say shed update or something. So we do the shed update every time we get a new.
Right.
At some point, we're going to need a tour, right?
When it's all finished and done, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, yeah, we did the one time. I threw it may have been the last time Ryan was on. I think I threw up the screenshot of the first time he was in, where it was just the shed behind him. He wasn't inside yet, so
it showed the outside of it. Yep.
Right. And I've got mine won't be as cool as his because I don't, he had some awesome, just, bare bones of history to work with. Most of the time when y'all see me here, if I'm, of course, in the dead of the summer, I was just behind the house, but I'm out here in the garage. But at some point I want to put, some sort of shed outside that I can make a permanent cigar lounge and get out of the garage. So I don't have to have the doors open to air out all the time. But, I probably mentioned it, but that was my goal this year. But if I didn't have to, cut down a probably 200-year-old tree from the backyard that was about to fall in the back of the house, then, budget shifted a little bit.
One thing I'll say about this smoke is it's got a really velvety texture. Like it
does.
Coming across my tongue, it's really velvety. I don't know how to describe it other than that.
And the aroma is very nice too. It just has this burning. I mean, it just got a good sweet smell, a little floral, but you can smell like leather. I mean, for budget smoke, this is actually really good. And I'm glad I didn't look anything up on this to kind of get something in my mind of what it was.
Right.
So just going in not knowing, this is definitely something I'll get a box of and hand out to people too. So
yeah, this is a great stick for like beginners and stuff. If you don't want to spend a ton of money, have them throw one in the ashtray. You're not that worried about $3, but it's actually a pretty good cigar.
And if I remember right, this particular box that I bought, and that's what y'all, the ones that y'all have, I sent you out of the same box. We're all smoking the same box that I got back in April. I believe that's the first box I've ever had of these. If I'd had it before this box, I don't remember it.
Is this the Toro?
This is the Toro.
Yeah.
And then their sizes are traditional. So the Toro 6x52, Robusto 5x50, the Churchill 7x50. So they're pretty standard on the size points. But, I've still got most of the box left, now that we've smoked it on the show, start hitting them and may put that in the budget rotation. So when it's out, I may have to get another box.
Yeah.
How long have you had this one?
Since April. Let's see. Make sure I'm spitting it out right. Let's see. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, right at mid-April.
It's probably a budget one for Swoop too, since he likes to have like 7 a day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Swoop smokes a lot of cigars.
I thought I smoked
like it's
a lot.
His job, man. Yeah, like it's his job.
Man,
7's a light day for him.
And if the days that I don't work, I usually can get 4 or 5. Of course, some of that's because I pretty much keep my night shift schedule. So if I don't have a plan or I'm not out of town or something, it's just easy for me to step and smoke. But I still don't hit 7.
Yeah.
I think I hit it on the one down the cruise last time because there was one down the cruise. There was absolutely nothing going that day that we wanted to do anything with. So we just grabbed a bite to eat, smoked a cigar. Grabbed a bite to eat, smoked a cigar. That's all I did for like 18 hours.
Yeah, that's a lot of smokes in one day.
It is.
I'm lucky to get 5 in on a weekend, 5, maybe 6, but normally most weeknights it's 3.
4, and I know y'all seen my post in the group. My I don't post everything that I put in the group. I put most of it, and I think my daily average is either 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's about me too, I would say.
You
I
know,
do tend to get quite a few in at night, though. Like, I'll come out after everyone goes to bed at 9, and I stay up late, so sometimes I'll smoke 2 or 3 in a row, so depending on how that works out. Since I got my 10th, that seems to be more the norm, so I'm actually smoking probably 4 or 5 on the weeknights now. Because I get that 3 in late, that three stick push at the end of the night.
Right. Even if I'm in between shifts, you know, I'm always going to smoke one after work. Sometimes it's 2, depends on if I'm pulling a Gordo or, you know, a couple Toros out. Most of my Robustos, if I smoke, are going to be right after work. Like the days that I get off late or got something to do, I'll purposely pull the shorter or a Petit Corona, something that I can still get a smoke in, but I know I can't be up for 2 hours. You know, pretty much, if I'm being honest, about the only reason I really keep like Petit Coronas around is
Me too.
If I want to smoke after work, but I know I just can't pull a full one, then I pull those out.
Those are what I call fix sticks, when you just need a fix.
Yeah. Like
I keep a lot of those around too.
Like the King's Gold, King's Tooth, perfect.
Perfect, yeah. And then any of the Dunbarton 448s, the Micarita, the red and the blue, they make them in 448. They're just a little, they're perfect.
And the Paulpetta.
Paulpetta's another good one, yeah.
Yep.
So mini cigars are very helpful.
Firecrackers too. I've bought quite a few of those over the years they serve me well. They're good half an hour.
I know that United one that you sent me one. I've had a couple more since. That's a really good firecracker.
They've got a bunch of lines in there.
Oh yeah.
Like they basically boutique make for whoever. So United will make them for. I think Dunbarton had them one year. EP Carrillo. So you go back through and look at all the brands they've actually made those for. It's pretty cool.
Right. And there's one of my.
Yeah.
Zero Dark 30.
Zero Dark 30. What the heck happened there?
Did you lose your power, or somebody killed the switch for you?
Yeah, I guess one of the kids had done that. Look at that.
It's just that like awesome? That one time. So being inside or outside doesn't change a damn thing.
Oh, man. Let me see if I can walk over and figure out what is going on.
Well, hey, you wanted a live tour.
My son is out here. My son was out here hitting the welder up outside, and he's on the same circuit. So he's like, blow the fuse? "Yeah, I think I just tripped your breaker." So sorry, we'll kind of wait till he gets back. Hey, this is the fun and joys of live, right? You know,
exactly.
What comes along with the territory.
Hey,
I want to know what he's welding. That's what I want to know.
Right.
So he's getting some stuff together. So he got his buddy from school that has exhaust that needs to be rewelded on this truck. So he's been putting a new spool on for the welder to get prepped. He's doing that tomorrow afternoon after school. So
nice,
pretty cool.
That's cool that he's that young and he's interested in welding.
It is.
Yeah.
Where did he learn to weld?
He took welding in school at the Career Technical Center, and this is his second year as a senior. So he's looking forward to trying to pursue that in the future also. So he loves that and automotive stuff, you know, so let's kind of go hand in hand too.
Yeah.
So
it's a skill I wish I was better at. Both of my grandfathers were in various forms of construction. One was a brick mason, and when I grew up, half the stuff in Northwest Louisiana either had his name on it or he was involved in it. My other grandfather was big into like the welding, and I don't know how many times he tried to teach me functionally. I'm a solid welder. If you wanted it to look good, stay away.
Right?
Like, you know,
Get the job done.
He's sitting there making, you know, you see videos of him now, you know, just these pretty weld lines and everything. And mine looked like hot lava pits. Just, they always pass the test, but they look like trash.
Yeah, it takes a lot of practice.
I just couldn't ever get it. And, you know, he worked for Alcoa.
Alcoa Aluminum?
Yeah, for like 33 years. He retired and then couldn't stop welding, so he started a side business by accident because he made a couple deer stands, and I'm talking huge tower deer stands. He just made them in the front yard, and word of mouth got out there, and he started selling those for years. And then he started making knives. Like, he was always doing something with metal, just didn't ever stop.
That's awesome. And you'll see that a lot when people have a passion, and next thing you know, it turns into a business opportunity.
Exactly.
Because other people appreciate their passion.
Trying to get it back.
Yeah, he's like, I don't see a breaker this trip. I was like, it's not going to be fully tripped off. It's just going to be like in the middle.
Right.
It's not going to show it all the way. So,
or not even just barely different than the rest, just slightly different.
Yep. That's what I said. Just one that's just a little off, and you're going to turn it all the way off and then back on.
And now you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, doing a little educational video here too, you know, for those that have this issue at home.
So, do you know, without looking, do you know what breaker size you've got out there on the shed right now? Do you remember?
Right now, I just have a 20 amp running out just to give me the power for the lights and the TV and stuff, because I got the wood stove for heat, so I don't really need anything other than that right now. It's a temporary. So.
Okay, you get your main line out there. Look at that. You got power.
Yay. All right, back in business. Hey. He's all up there apologizing to me. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry. I'm like, it's all good. Sorry.
So I'll say about this stick, I think that I'm finding the same thing with this that we found with the Perdomo Fresco, where it was good, but it never changed. It's just
consistent.
Mine has been steady, the same flavor the whole time. So but it's a good, you know, it's a good stick. I mean,
I think you're just a hair ahead of me, which I'm right at the half point. Yes, so me and Ryan are about the same. You're just a touch in front.
Yeah, and it might be because I have to puff so hard. My jaw is a little tighter, so I've been puffing really hard. So it'll almost go out, and then I got to puff, puff, puff to get a nice big drag, and so I think I'm burning a little faster rate.
It's a magic dragon.
As dumb as that sounds, I have a tighter draw, but I'm burning faster because I'm working it, I think.
Oh, you
would
appreciate
the thing that changed in this is I got a little bit of like a barnyard hay at the very back end of it. That's the only thing that I've noticed is different.
That's kind of what I got on the cold draw, Ryan, when I was trying to describe that. It was more like it was a mushroomy, barnyardy. But I never got it in the flavor when I was smoking.
Okay.
Pulling, since Dr. Pallett's back on the show, that is pretty accurate because I was getting something chalky, musty-ish, and I think that might be what you're referring to, but I think you're, again, as usual, I think you're right.
Yeah, well, I'm not the best judge today because I've been nursing a cold. This weekend I woke up Saturday morning with my throat, felt like there was gravel in it, and Friday morning, and then Saturday I smoked some cigars and couldn't taste them all the way, you know how that goes, but you're still gonna smoke them, and so we're about 5 days off, but my right side of my sinus is still just kind of plugged, and so if you don't have good sinus use, you're not going to get good, especially when you get most of your flavor from retro, and I do. I try to pull all that stuff when I'm retroing.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's just I think we've mentioned it before. If you got if you're sick or you got sinus issues, you're still going to smoke. We're just not pulling out the the top shelf cigars to waste the flavor, but I'm still going to smoke some.
Yep.
Leave the Davidoffs and the Atabays till next week, but I'm still pulling out a good cigar.
Yeah, I try to never do that exactly what you said. If I know I'm not on point, I'm not going to waste a $30 stick.
Right. Definitely a smoky little sandwich here, that's for sure.
Yeah, it feels like the right amount of kicking. It really does, just to keep you enjoying it.
And I do think I agree with them saying that the strength scale is that 3 out of 5 because it's there, it's bold, but it's not overwhelmingly bitter or too peppery.
Mm-hmm. So I agree. Medium, I would say medium.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Flavor is bolder than you would think, but on the intensity, definitely a medium on strength, for sure. So, if you're somebody watching that is afraid of, now this isn't technically a Maduro, it's a Oscuro, but if you're into that color and you're afraid that it's going to be too dark, this is a good one to try because it's got a lot of good dark flavor, but it doesn't have dark, bitter pepper. So it's actually a pretty good mix. So I'm probably going to keep that box in the rotation on my budget side of things as long as they're still putting them out.
Yeah, like we talked about before, these are good for when you're out in the yard or whatever. If you lay it down and step on it by accident, you don't have to cry.
Right. Good to give Justin when he's going to plug one so you don't cry when I have to give him another one.
Right. Sometimes I think he might just do that on purpose so he can get an extra stick out of it.
We talked about that. He's trying to work me over for a second cigar or something.
Oh, yeah, it was on the Law Your Own show because he kept saying he was going to pirate more cigars out of us.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, Chad, you would appreciate, I do remember this part of the conversation with Henderson is, I forget which cigar we were smoking because all three of us smoked like 3 cigars back to back. He was bouncing between the table and talking to us, so me and Justin just keep smoking. And he mentioned at one point that he was having a draw issue, and so he made a comment about it. And he's like, "Man, I just feel like it's plugged again." Oh no, because he asked me for my draw tool. If I have my draw tool.
Justin did.
Justin did, of course.
Okay.
In person. So I got to verify this. And Justin asked me for the draw tool, and I made a comment to Henderson. I was just like, "Man, we've said on the show that this dude likes to offend his cigars because he always seems to get the plugged issues." And I filled him in, and after we got done laughing, he's like, "Well, yeah, I've been watching you. You've been smoking too fast."
Yeah.
And Justin's like, "Huh?"
Oh, really?
Chad said something to him on a herf one day because he was smoking fast, and he was like, "Maybe you're just smoking it too fast. It's not burning." And then Henderson came and said the same thing, and he was just like, "Well, damn it." But he went technical into it, which I thought was cool. He's like, a lot of people think that if you're smoking too fast, it's because the ash isn't burning. That's not what causes your draw issue. Most of the time, if you smoke too fast, every time you draw, you put moisture on the tip, right? He's like, so what's happening is your cigar is getting too wet up the top because you're not allowing it the time for the heat to clear out the moisture in between draws. So the tobacco is getting too tip up here. He's like, have you ever noticed that most of the time, he's asking Justin, like, you just poke the tip and you don't have to do a full draw and it fixes itself? He's like, yeah, it's usually just up here. Like, yeah, you're just smoking too fast.
Oh.
So, but he went into it as far as not just talking about the draw of the tobacco, talking about the moisture in the tip just from your lips. He's like, while you're letting it rest that 30, 45 seconds in between puffs, it's also the heat is clearing out the extra moisture from your mouth. So
that guy, Ronnie told me a story one time about him when they were down at his factory and they were walking on the floor and he grabbed a cigar and was testing, right? He does it all, like the whole time he's there. He just picks a cigar up and starts smoking it.
Right.
And he's smoking this cigar and he can't get it to draw or light or stay lit, right? And Ronnie's talking to him, and he's about 5 or 6 puffs in, I guess. I remember the story like this. And he says, because they forgot a leaf. He says this to Ronnie, and Ronnie's like, what the heck? He's like, yeah, they forgot a leaf. And sure enough, there's a leaf in the cigar that's made just for combustion, right? And it's in the center. Okay. There's 3 different leaves for your filler, and one of them is for combustion. And sure enough, they went back, cut that cigar apart, and they forgot the leaf for combustion. Wow. So that's how well that guy knows tobacco. Like,
that's good.
Pick a cigar up, pull on it a few times when it's not drawn. He's like, no, they forgot this leaf. And sure enough, he was right. So.
And I want to talk, but I don't want to say too much because I'm going to try to pull him on the show sometime this year. So I don't want to steal his thunder, but some of the conversations me and Justin had with him, there was a period where there was like this lull in customers. So we had a pretty good chat with him. And, I asked him, I was like, hey, man, since I got you in person, like, how did you get started? And he's like, I was born. I was like, what do you mean? Yes. And so he went into the whole story about, his family and
about his father.
Yeah. About his father and what his father did before and what he did now and how he got into it. And the fact he's like, I didn't even want to do this. I wanted to do something different. I'm being vague. I hope to let him come on the show one time and talk about it. But it was really cool listening to his story. Like, he literally has been in tobacco practically his whole life and pretty darn near his entire life. So
I think he told me that he smoked his first cigar when he was like 8 years old. He stole it from his dad. That's what
I remember. Yep.
Yeah.
8 years old.
Story.
So, sorry, Alec. I mean, it is what it is. Or technically not Alec. It's I can't ever remember his name. I apologize. The Alan Rubin, but founder of Alec Bradley. I can't ever remember his name. I always have to look because I want to go to Alec Bradley. But anyway, so I mean, it was just a cool conversation to listen to the story of someone that actually, has grown up in it, and in contrary to, I'll reference it now when Greg was on. He didn't grow up in tobacco. He had to go to the factory and learn about the process and get involved in it with somebody else that's already making cigars, versus Henderson growing up into it and knowing it his entire life. So it's completely different train of thought than, 3 of us have as a consumer.
Right.
Yeah,
for sure.
But
I'm sure it gave him some advantages too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
that probably says a lot with their consistency too, They pride themselves with the consistency of their cigars.
Facts.
His father was a master blender at Davidoff, so.
Yep.
It doesn't get any better than that.
I mean, some of the best blenders, go spend, proper time under somebody else's learning and, branch out.
Yep.
Who better to learn from? Ryan, you get any transition in this, or pretty
No, the
steady?
the espresso and cocoa is just stayed all the way through with this. The leather is more on my lips, I think, from the oiliness in the leaf. I don't pull a lot of the leather flavor out.
Same, but I'll agree to that point.
Me too, yeah. I've got some charred oak and chocolate. It's pretty much been steady for me. But like I said, I'm not 100 here. I got my whole right side's not telling me the truth. So
I know they don't say it, but I would also agree. I can't specifically say, oak versus cedar or something like that, but there's definitely an underlying wood tone to me.
It's like a burned wood almost. Like a
charred wood. Yeah.
Chocolate for me. But like I said, I got my whole right side lying to me right now. So.
Well, it's like, when you put that s'more on the campfire, you get just a little bit of smokiness in the graham cracker with it. That's that charred note kind of coming through. Kind of similar.
The burned part of the marshmallow when you catch it on fire. You eat that crunchy black stuff off of there.
Heck yeah. Purposely catch it on fire. So
me too, man. I've set them ablaze. For sure.
Heck yeah.
What about you, Ryan? You toast them or you just burn them?
Oh, toast them, but I got to throw the Reese peanut butter cup down on the bottom instead of the Hershey chocolate.
Yeah, that's been a thing happening around here lately that I've noticed too. Like some people we've been hanging around with in the last couple of years, that's been a new thing. And then the other thing was those caramel Ghirardelli squares.
Oh,
That
Oh, I
instead
bet
of
that's good.
yeah, that's really
Yeah.
good.
I haven't thought about doing that. I bet that is killer.
It's genius.
The caramel s'more. That's damn. Now I'm gonna go try it.
Just do it right over the stove tonight. You got a gas stove.
Right.
There
I got a gas stove. I can make it work. Just kick the flame
That's
up.
right. You can always have s'mores if you got a gas stove.
One thing when we bought this house, when we were looking, Ellen didn't care. She said it. I don't really care, and I was like, no, I want gas stove. I don't care. It's convenient having a gas water heater, and a gas furnace. But like I was like, even if the house is partial, I want a gas stove. And now that we've gotten here and cooked with it, she kind of sees why, because he's a lot more control, and it feels better. And I didn't know that growing up, because if I remember right, we always had electric, at least from the period I was old enough to remember and actually start helping my parents cook. But once I was in adulthood and actually had my first gas stove, changed everything.
Mm.
I don't ever want to go back to not having a gas stove.
Try to cut this again. I'm down to the end. It's been pretty consistently tight draw. So
I wonder if there's just like a long filler stem or something that got put in there, or if it's just
I think it's just pack tight. It doesn't
pack
It
tight.
doesn't seem. Yeah, it just seems like a tighter pack. Is all.
Could have been they put just one extra bunch of.
It's smoked okay. It's just been a little more draw than I choose to or normally like. I guess more pull.
And I got to be honest, in contrast, my draw has been absolutely perfect. Not too airy, not too tight. It's just natural pull and power is all it's needed.
Now, a lot of times, if you
definitely
get a
got
tight
sulfur.
draw, it'll affect the flavor, but it's not been bad.
And you seem to, and it may be because it doesn't have a lot of transitions, but you seem to be consistent on your draw notes, or your flavor notes, even with the draw giving you an issue.
Yeah.
Pull this band off real quick.
It hasn't burned bad. I just had those 2 little runs where I had to touch it up, so it stayed, in line. So that should,
Right.
The flavor should stay pretty consistent if you keep it like that.
Well, talking about, projects for the year, my biggest one is actually related to the show, not to be corny, but it is. And I can't put any spoiler alerts yet because some things are in function. You've seen a little bit so far in recent times, but we got a few brand owners that want to come on the show and talk. We've got, a couple store owners that want to come on, a couple got one guy from an app that wants to come on. So you're going to end up seeing on the show, our pretense has been, review a cigar in conversational context, right? There's going to be another titling portion where sometimes we'll bring in these people and we won't be reviewing a cigar. We can all smoke whatever, whoever gets to be on the show for the day, and just do shop talk with these people. So we're not focusing on, cigar. And partially because I don't want to accidentally put anybody in a weird spot if we're reviewing a cigar, but somebody jumps on the show that's for another brand. That's just kind of inappropriate, I think. So there'll be some times where we just smoke whatever we want, and we may or may not mention it, or we may mention it just in passing, and just bring some people on for good conversation. Let the Holiday family kind of learn and see some of these people and have a good conversation. So kind of different vibe. We may have some where we're not purposely reviewing a cigar. We're just smoking and talking. So it'd be kind of some good shop talk conversation.
And that's like your end goal, anyways. Pat, I mean, you want
Mhm.
to educate the members that are in our group and people that are viewing, and sometimes it's just that easy conversation talk that allows that to come out instead of
Right.
focusing so much on the specific cigar that we're trying out. So you get those conversations about the ins and outs of what it takes to make the cigars and what their
Yep.
passion is and the tools that they use to make their product different from others and things like that. So
Yeah, I love listening to those guys talk.
Every person in the industry, top to bottom, has a completely different perception. They have a different mindset. You've got the guys that are focused on being a blender. You've got the guys that are focused on the factory production. You got the guys that are, brick and mortar owners that they're focused on the retail. Sometimes they kind of cross over, if it's like we mentioned with BL and Secreto, if they've got a shop exclusive, they may have their input with the blend, but at the end of the day, their primary goal is retail, focusing on the consumers. You've got guys like the app that I use a lot, Box Pressed, where that has nothing to do with the production side. That has to do with the community aspect of ratings and posting and stuff. That's a completely different aspect of it. You've got the guys that own the lounge. That's the whole purpose of bringing in cigars for camaraderie and conversations. So everybody in the entire gambit of cigar world has different perspectives on what their goals are, and it's interesting to get to pull these people to the side and talk to them and get completely different mindsets on different aspects of the industry. And you start throwing all that stuff together, and it's pretty dope to kind of start getting full circle on everything. Because when you start smoking, all you want is a good cigar, and that's all you care about, right?
That's right.
And as you start getting into it, learning more, it just opens up everything.
So much to learn. I will say that I don't know if you guys are getting this too, but I am way down on this. It may be because I'm drawing it so hard, but I'm getting like a tingle on my tongue with a little bit of anise or licorice. I don't know, but it's leaving that taste right on my tongue. Might be because I'm drawing so hard though.
Is it turning it bitter, or is it just super strong, or is it just
no?
There?
It's a pleasant flavor.
Oh, pleasant. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's leaving like an anise or licorice flavor right on my tongue.
I thought you meant for a second that it was.
I didn't say anus. I said anise.
No. Hey, that's kind of like me when one of the last shows I had before Derek moved, and it was Derek and Brett, and I was trying to reference some annual training that I was doing.
I already know what you're gonna say.
And I left out a letter, and it was very close to anal training. I did not get to let that go the entire show. Brett made a good job of making fun of me the entire show. So
I bet he did.
But I was curious. I thought for a second you were going to go into saying that it was almost getting at a bitter tone. So that's kind of what I thought you were going to.
No, normally when you have to draw as hard as I am, that's what happens. The cigar will kind of go rank on you, but it hasn't done that. Especially, I'm surprised because it's a sandwich, but it hasn't turned bitter on me. Pretty good so far.
Yeah, for a self-proclaimed or self-admitted sandwich, I'm very pleased.
Yeah, very much so.
Killer stick. I mean,
we should have a rank, like a yardstick chart or something.
You know what? That's actually not a bad idea. At some point, we can build a list of our top 5 yard guards. That'd be interesting to see what we all do, and especially if we can purposely do it on a show where it's all 4 of the OGs, and let's not tell each other ahead of time what our top 5 is, and just see what we do.
Mm-hmm.
That would be an interesting show because everybody loves talking about the top dogs,
right?
It'd be interesting to see what we come up with, purposely talking about our top 5 budget line sticks.
Yep.
Like
I give it like a price point cap.
Say it again.
Give it like a price point cap, like $5 or less or something.
Yeah, might go to 6. There's one I'm
Oh yeah,
thinking
something
of
like
that's
that. But I'm saying you have to have a range.
yeah,
You
a
have to go,
point,
it
right?
can't be more than this.
I mean, we only care about Chad's 2 through 5. I already know without a doubt, put money on the table that his absolute favorite budget stick is a quorum. So I don't need to know anything else. That's his number one.
No, that's the one. That's the one that I was trying to remember. That was.
I know. It
absolute
just hit me what it
trash.
was because you mentioned it off
Did
air.
I tell you about it? Yeah, it was a quorum. It was horrible. I let it die in the ashtray. I smoked about that much of it.
It may have actually been on an episode. It was either on the episode or in one of the virtual hearse where I was talking about some budget sticks and I mentioned that it was okay, and your face just soured. You're like, no, nope.
No, I can get on board with that Perdomo Fresco. That quorum is not a win at all. Maybe I had a really bad one, but that's the problem when you get those bundle budget sticks. You can get a terrible one and then smoke one a week later and probably have it be fine.
Yeah.
I think quorums are definitely on the lower end. They are every bit of a yard gar where, I mean, you're out actually working in the yard. You don't care if you drop it. You don't care if you get it dirty. Like, it's not going to ruin anything because it's.
But they're the same price.
I can't go past saying it's just okay. That's where I'm going to stop.
It's the same price as this, though, Pat. So that's the thing. So if we're going to rank them, we got to, we pull out the best ones for $3 to $5.
Yeah, you're talking same price point, and Alec Bradley Puck is
much better.
I know it's going to be rated low because it's a Cuban sandwich, but in terms of flavor, it should be priced more. I mean, I'm glad it's not, but it very well could be. And if this was an $8 stick, I don't know if anybody would complain about it. It's
for sure, $5-6, no problem.
Easy. It's a good solid flavor profile, and I'm well into the last third, and as you stated earlier, still no solid transitions, true flavor. It's outside of Ryan had to tell us what it was, but that little hay grassy tone at the end, that's the only difference I had versus the initial light. And I don't even know if I'd really say it was a true transition. It just kind of started showing up.
Lingering. Yep.
I might have powered right through that, too, the way I'm having to smoke this. I might have missed it. If it was there, I might have just smoked right through it.
Yeah, it's one of the lighter tones in the blend on this one, so it's very possible that it just burned through it for you.
Yeah.
But final notes, it's a damn good budget stick. So if y'all are looking for a budget stick that's very incredibly budget friendly, if we're just averaging the three prices, you're averaging $250 a cigar, depending on what size you get. And I'm telling you, go ahead and buy a box. It's worth it. You're not going to be disappointed, I don't think. If you like anything in the darker espresso and coffee lines, but it says pepper. It's just barely there to blend it. It is not strong pepper. It is not bitter pepper.
No.
It's done well, especially for a sandwich.
Retro's nice. Yep. Nothing offensive.
Well, gents, I think we have accomplished reviewing another good budget cigar. Like I said, I want to bring the budgets on the show just like we bring the Fuentes on the show. I like to show everything, The benefit of not being a paid reviewer, we can smoke whatever the crap we want to smoke on the show.
Yep.
So, but another solid show, another good conversation, kind of all over the point, which I think is some of the better shows in my opinion, even if it's just the three of us watching it plus Justin.
Electrical outages and all.
Right, because he has this smoke because we planned on getting him on the show and it just didn't happen, but we wanted to go and smoke it. So he said he's saving this show to smoke it when we smoke this on the air. So he'll be smoking it with us. I'll be anxious to see once this hits YouTube what his comments are when he smokes it. See what if he agrees with us or not. But
or if his plugs.
Right. Hey guys,
I had the Justin cigar today.
Can you send me another one of those pokes? Mine was plugged.
Right.
But as always, glad you guys came out. Looking forward to the next show as always, and have some more conversations for the family. So
enjoyed it,
gentlemen. Have yourselves a great day, and YouTube land. Until next time, stay safe and hollow down.
Happy New Year.